Hi everyone, another quick KNIME video. In today's one we're gonna cover Python. You may want to ask me why Python, because what we're trying to do on this channel is to avoid coding at any cost and do everything as a visual and a drop-down kind of approach. Now, Python might help many of you to deal with very custom situations, whether it's a very complex input file or web scraping input that you want to bring in, or complex database connections that you need to resolve to bring your input or output data. So for that you may want Python, and you can find numerous libraries and solutions to your particular problems on the internet. You just want to be able to run that Python code within KNIME, and that's what we're going to do today. Configure our KNIME application so we can bring Python in. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we're in KNIME. First thing we want to do is to go into preferences, and you can just type Python and go into this page. And effectively this is a configuration page for Python within KNIME. So for those who want to have Python 2, which is very rare these days, I would assume, you need to actually put something here. However, because I'm just using Python 3, which is a default option, what you need to do, whatever KNIME comes with out of the box, you need to hit this browse button and effectively point to Python executable file, in this case in my Anaconda 3 subfolder. So what my installation of Python is effectively Anaconda installation, and there is plenty of videos online. If you can just go to Anaconda and download Python, it will install it on one of those directories on your PC. And then what you need to do is to effectively find where python.exe is located and point KNIME to that file, and that's all. After that, what we can do is we can create a new KNIME workflow, call it Python, and you have a number of nodes here that are specifically designed to Python. If you type Python into the search bar, a lot of them come up, and what they are effectively is different variations of how many inputs you can have in that node. For our example, let me just drag this one in. You can see this one is called Python source. That's when you need to bring something into KNIME using Python. And then if you try some of the others, like for example, if it's just Python script, then it will have some input data going into it, and then you can do something using Python script to the data or data set, and then output it back into KNIME. And hopefully you get the idea. So if we bring this guy in, so it will have two inputs coming in and one input going out, just to give you flexibility of how many inputs and outputs you need to deal with. And if I delete these ones and go in, this is like a mini Python environment that you can actually run here. And the most important thing here that you need to be aware of is this output table object. Effectively, it's like a reserved word in KNIME to say, look, whatever you put here is what becomes your output. What I wanted to do quickly is to show you an example. So what I did a Google search for sample data frame pandas, because usually you deal with data sets in Python using pandas, and I found this, clicked on this search result, which is just a description of pandas with a little example at the end. So what I want to do is to bring this guy across and show you how we can run it in KNIME. So what I want to do is leave some of these imports, because obviously it needs to import pandas. So if I paste my script here, I effectively create the code to create this df data frame. And what I have to do now is replace what I assigned to my output table, because I need to point it to that df or data frame. So effectively I'm not changing this output table. It's always at the very end, because that's what I want to be in going into KNIME as a data set. We can even test run this script here, and of course I can see there is an error because it's not a full pandas import. What we need to have here instead is to say import pandas SPD, and now it should work. And you can see that execution successful is what actually tells me that it's okay now. And we can now run it in KNIME and see what happens. Bang. Looking in the output, and we've got our sample data frame or data set in KNIME now that was defined within that code in Python. Okay. And that was it. We've done two things today. One, we changed KNIME configuration to be able to use Python within KNIME. And then we put an example of very simple script in Python into KNIME, so that data set on the output becomes available to you within KNIME. I didn't show you the other types of Python nodes, but they're all very similar. You just need to keep in mind the input or the output that you are using, so to make sure that you don't overwrite it and use it exactly as it is within that initial script that when you open that node with. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.